Hey guys, welcome back to Vince-Vell Customs. Today I am going to be cleaning my airbrush. Now this is the Iowa to HPCH, and I ran through some clear coats through it and it got a little bit messy, so I gotta clean them up. Basically what I like to use is a WIndsor brush cleaner and restorer. This stuff is like kind of like, I don't know exactly what's in it, but it really does like bring brushes back to life that's got cake paint on it, and it will clean your airbrush pretty good if you run it through your airbrush. Now, the only thing with this stuff is to be careful, wear eye goggles, protective gear, and all that stuff when you use this. But it's really good for cleaning up your airbrush. Just to give you an idea, if you have some paint on your, like the bottom of your airbrush, like right here, you can take a Q-tip and kind of just like start rubbing it on there. And before you know it, it just starts coming off onto the Q-tip. And it's really good for getting a lot of caked up stuff out and cleaning up your airbrush. Now, you don't want to do this stuff while you're painting, because if you paint it on a statue, it will get messy. But so basically, once you take off the needle piece, the little nozzle needle piece, like right here, I like to throw it into the little cap with some of this in here. And basically, when you kind of look through it, if you kind of look at it at the light, you can kind of see it's clogged. Now, my needle right here is pretty dirty too, so what I do is sometimes I'll take this, run it through. As you can see, it kind of starts taking it all up, and just kind of wash that off, get that nice and clean. So the needle's good. Now I have a bunch of old needles, and there's needles called reamers. They're kind of like jagged tips and stuff. It's kind of hard to see in the video, but with the little nozzle cap that's in here that I put in here, what I like to do is let it sit for a little bit, get in there, take the needle piece and kind of just get in there and turn it a bit. It starts pulling stuff out. Now if you feel that you need to push some more through, you can take your regular needle, just be careful, and push it through. You'll notice that there's some, you can take the other end of this too, just be careful. No, actually that doesn't go in. The other needle I was thinking of. But you can kind of just get it in there and clean it up a bit. This is another type of reamer. It's kind of like half a needle, and you can kind of go in there and just scrape the stuff out. So you just want to be careful, and then you kind of blow through it, and I can see light coming through it, and it's all nice and clean. So you just don't want to lose that piece now. So then I have these tools. You get these off eBay or any kind of art store. They're kind of like different sizes of little wires with cleaning stuff through them. So you can take your smallest one, and with the tip that's off, you kind of just push it through the airbrush here, kind of clean it. Now you might not be able to see it, but when you put it onto there, you can see that it's coming all out. So it is very dirty in there. Now don't try to force any of the bigger ones through here, because you can damage it. But it is starting to really clean it in there. Let's see if I can. So, and then you can take a Q-tip, get in there a little bit, clean it up. It was really caked up before, but I was cleaning it up with the Q-tips. But you can see it gets really dirty. And basically what I was having problems with, no airflow coming through, and paint was splattering, so I knew it was time to clean it again. So you could kind of do that. I still don't see like a little thing, so you can take your needle, be careful, or you can actually push it through this way through the other end. Not seeing it, so I'll do it this way. Really dirty in there. Some people have I guess it's like a watch and gem cleaner, or like a a jewelry kit cleaner that vibrates, and they put their airbrushes in those and they let it vibrate and it gets clean. I don't have one. Never used one, but that's one way of cleaning it all out. So basically, just take your time, get them all clean. Be careful with this stuff because this stuff will like melt plastic cups. It can get on your table. It can ruin paints, but it does bring brushes back to life that are caked up. Don't want to go too crazy with the Q-tips because you don't want any of the fibers going into the airbrush getting messed up, but trying to get all this out. It's pretty dirty. Yep, starting to see light coming through. It's pretty bad in there. Now you can take your reamer stuff here, kind of get in there and get all that out. As you can see, it's really dirty in here. So what I do is I do this for a little bit. Make sure I try to get all this out, get it all nice and clean. You probably will get this all over your hands too if you do it. Don't even bother wearing rubber gloves. I found that the rubber gloves and the latex gloves just start melting on you anyway with this stuff, so it doesn't really even matter. Just make sure you wash your hands pretty good. I learned using this stuff at Jersey Fest when we had some seminars back in Dave's house before it became a show. They were like, "Yeah, use this stuff," and I was like, "Oh man, this stuff saved all my airbrushes." So it got to the point where some airbrushes were so caked up I couldn't do anything. So that's looking pretty clean there. And then just like this tool here, got a little bit of a nasty gunk all over this. And then even on this one here, got some. So as you can see, this stuff really does work. It does take all this stuff off. You can see all the dirtiness that comes out. Works pretty good. So you just got to make sure you don't bend your needle. Make sure you don't lose your tip. Make sure the tip is clean. You see light coming through it. There's nothing caked in there. Same thing with this. Now just be careful you don't get all this liquid into here in the air area. You don't want to do that. You just want to get it cleaned up. Make sure there's no paints or anything gooked in there. And just keep doing that. Now this brush I really don't use like clears and stuff through it. I really don't use any flat coats or clear coats through it. I just did it by mistake the other day and I completely forgot to really kind of clean it, so it got really messed up in there. I used the bigger brushes for that stuff. This really needed it. I mean, you can see after I do that, and then it's really dirty up in there. But once you get to the point at least where you get to see the light coming through and it's not really like any kind of caking, it's a little bit liquid, then I'll put it back together and I'll run some water and stuff through it. So we'll come back to that after I finish this up, because this is just going to take a little while. So as you can see, it's pretty messy. So let me get this cleaned up a little bit more, and then I'll show you me putting it back together and just rinsing it out. Alright, so basically I am done cleaning it up. It's looking pretty good. I washed it up a little bit. So first thing I like to do is I like to put the tip on first. Be very careful you don't lose it, and you don't want to strip it. So you get it on there pretty good. Make sure you have your wrench tool, and just get it all the way on. Just you got to be careful because you can tighten it too much and just rip that sucker off, and then you're screwed. Just want to keep going until it gets a little bit tight, and then you're good. And then just look through it to make sure you still got a little bit of a line of sight. It's looking good, and just start piecing it together. What we'll do is we'll take this. Now if this is caked up, which this was a little bit, not that much, this is clean. So put this tip on it. Now there's no tool for this, so what I do is I use a wrench tool, but just be very careful you don't crush it. just to tighten it a bit, so that's tight. And then just start putting it together. Make sure that's in the right spot. Take this, put that in there. That's good. Now before I put my needle in, I always use my super lube, and every time I clean at night, I use super lube. I know, sounds kind of kinky, but put a little dot on your finger, get it all over the needle. This helps so paint doesn't stick to it and it goes through pretty good. So every time I clean at night, I always throw on the needle. So it goes through pretty good, nice and even, and looking pretty good. So basically, let's go set up over at the airbrush booth, run some water through it, and then test it out. Okay, so I got my 30% mix of Windex and 70% of water. So basically I fill up Windex to about here or so, and then the rest is just water. So I just throw a bunch in here and just run it through. As you can see, it's just coming through. Make sure I'm getting it all. Get sure water goes through it, clean it up. Making sure no clogs are happening. Looking all clean in here now. A little messy on the outside still, but that's okay. So what we'll do now is test over here. So basically get myself, I guess some carbon black from, so I want to test, let's see, so getting a thin line, thick line, thin, thick, everything's no splattering. So we got it all cleaned up and it's looking good. So that's pretty much how I clean my airbrushes. I got a few more I need to do. Just got to make sure it's all cleaned up, let it dry and sit for a while. Don't start airbrushing right away after you do this with this stuff, because you can get it in your airbrush and mess it all up. But that's pretty much a little step-by-step on cleaning. Hopefully it helped you guys out. Gives you at least one idea on how to clean, whereas some people will send it in and clean and go from there. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.